in 2 Chronicles chapter 16 in the King James Version. In the 6th and 30th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha, king of Israel, came up against Judah, and built Ramah, to the intent that he might let none go out or come in to Asa, king of Judah. Then Asa brought out silver and gold out of the treasures of the house of the Lord and of the king's house, and sent to Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, that dwelt in Damascus, saying, There is a league between me and thee, as there was between my father and thy father. Behold, I have sent thee silver and gold. Go, break thy league with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may depart from me. And Ben-Hadad hearkened unto King Asa, and sent the captains of his armies against the cities of Israel. And they smote Ijon and Dan, and Abelmaim, and all the store cities of Naphtali. And it came to pass, when Baasha heard it, that he left off building of Ramah, and let his work cease. Then Asa the king took all Judah, and they carried away the stones of Ramah, and the timber thereof, wherewith Baasha was building. And he built therewith Geba and Mizpah. And at that time Hanani the seer came to Asa, king of Judah, and said unto him, Because thou hast relied on the king of Syria, and not relied on the Lord thy God, therefore is the host of the king of Syria escaped out of thine hand. Were not the Ethiopians and the Lubims a huge host, with very many chariots and horsemen? Yet, because thou didst rely on the Lord, he delivered them into thine hand. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to shew himself strong, and the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. Herein thou hast done foolishly. Therefore, from henceforth thou shalt have wars. Then Asa was wroth with the seer, and put him in a prison house, for he was in a rage with him because of this thing. And Asa oppressed some of the people the same time. And behold, the acts of Asa, first and last, lo, they are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. And Asa, in the 39th year of his reign, was diseased in his feet, until his disease was exceeding great. Yet in his disease he sought not the Lord, but to the physicians. And Asa slept with his fathers, and died in the 41st year of his reign. And they buried him in his own sepulchres, which he had made for himself in the city of David, and laid him in the bed which was filled with sweet odors and divers kinds of spices, prepared for the apothecary's art. And they made a very great burning for him. Okay, like I mentioned, a lot here, a lot. So Asa, when we read through the book of the Kings, Asa was a person that did have faith in the Lord, did believe in the Lord, but over time, his faith and his believance of the Lord kind of waned because of the tests and trials, because of what things Israel and Judah were both doing. Even at the time of Asa, there were still some people that were still trying to do things, create high places for other gods, still trying to rely not on the Lord, but on man. And so here's a prime example, Asa, and then we also get to more information. Because remember, in Kings, it just kind of told us that he followed the Lord. Then near the end of his time, he was diseased, and then he passed away. He's diseased in his feet and then passes away. Now we understand what, because Chronicles starts filling us in with those missing details, which was that he, instead of relying on the Lord like he did when the Ethiopians had came, instead he took the treasuries. He immediately freaked, he immediately panicked, and instead of seeking the Lord, he did something earthly. He did something that, a human would do, a man would do without seeking the Lord, without living in the Spirit. And so he decided to let me make a deal with this dealsman, the king of Syria, who likes to make a deal, very interesting businessman. And so he took the gold and silver from the Lord's house. Not only did he take it from the kingdom, remember, all of these things were given to Israel to begin with, and then they were just giving that back to the Lord, and then the Lord, they would get gold. It was a reciprocal thing. It was the Lord would bless them, they would receive things, they would donate things back to the Lord. There would be peace, prosperity throughout the land by them following the commandments. And instead, he's taking what the people had given, because he's freaking out at this time, thinking that this is the only way to protect Judah and Jerusalem at this time. And because the king of Israel is fighting against him and being reinforced with Syria, that he needs to make a deal with him. So, of course, in verse 2, then Asa brought out silver and gold out of the treasuries of the house of the Lord and of the king's house, and sent to Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, that dwelt in Damascus, saying, there is a league between me and thee, as there was between my father and thy father. Behold, I have sent thee silver and gold. Go break thy league with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may depart from me. So, of course, Ben-Hadad went ahead and took that silver and gold and accepted the temporary deal. It was very temporary. And so, and ended up attacking Israel instead, which is Judah's brother. And because of that, a seer came along, and a prophet came along and told him, Hanani, verse 7, and that at that time Hanani the seer came to Asa king of Judah, and said unto him, because thou hast relied on the king of Syria, and not relied on the Lord thy God, therefore is the host of the king of Syria escaped out of thine hand. He didn't know that the king of Syria was being turned over to Judah, to Israel. He didn't understand that it was a reason why Ben-Hadad was attacking at this specific time. It was to be handed over to Judah. But instead of relying on the Lord and in being strengthened, he relied on earthly things, economical things, bringing past to present. We talked about a crutch in the previous Bible study. Now let's talk about more things as to do with why we make decisions in life. What do we truly rely on? Because in his case, he relied on money. He knew that Ben-Hadad was a businessman. He was a businessman that was like a warlord, a person that was bent on money and war, because money and power and then oppression equal what Ben-Hadad was looking for: money, power, and war. When we make our decisions in life, what are we making those decisions from? Are we seeking the Lord and living in the Spirit and following His guidance? Because a lot of times they don't make sense to us. As you can see, King of Judah, he didn't know. Nothing made sense to him. He was like, here's this warlord coming after not only reinforcing Israel, so I'm getting attacked by Israel, my brother, and he's being reinforced by Ben-Hadad, the warlord, at this time. And he decides to make a deal with the warlord. Exactly. If a lot of times when we're not listening to the Lord and being guided by the Lord, you could very well be making a deal with the devil, thinking that your thinking is the only way to go. That your thoughts and feelings and everything that you've accomplished and everything that you've prepared for is the only way to go. And we don't see the other way. So when these times of testing, when these times of, and I'm just going to say, I'm speaking to myself at this point because there's a lot of things going on right now that I need to hear this myself. When we get tested, when we get in those times of, we need to make a serious decision. Seek the Lord and his guidance at all times. And you may think you're going to get that answer immediately, and you can. You may think you don't know how much time you have. Well, guess what? The Lord has all the time. He's the one that created time to begin with. So he knows, and he can hear, he listens to us, he hears us, and he's already at work to protect us. He's already at work in our lives, and we just don't see these things. So let's not be like Asa in this particular case, because he was very good. Remember, even the prophet told him, look, you relied on the Lord before when it came to all these other tribes and the Ethiopians coming and attacking you. What changed? And a lot of times in our lives, we go through time, we go through our life, and we go through experiences, and those experiences start creating false walls and false building blocks that we utilize in circumstances where we need to go back to our first love. We need to go back to the Lord. We need to go back to the basics. Prayer, praise, worship. Before we go on, though, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think?